In the heart of Moscow's bustling streets, where the winter winds howl like forgotten ghosts and the neon lights of luxury clash with the shadows of despair, a young woman named Anna Petrova huddled in the doorway of an abandoned warehouse. At just 22 years old, with her raven-black hair matted from the relentless snow and her piercing blue eyes dulled by exhaustion, Anna had become one of the city's invisible souls. But on that fateful night, as flames erupted from a nearby apartment building, her life, and the lives of those around her, would change forever. Imagine the chaos: sirens wailing in the distance, people screaming, and a tiny child trapped on the third floor, his cries piercing the night like a dagger. Anna, with nothing to lose but everything to give, charged into the inferno without a second thought. This is the story of a homeless heroine whose act of bravery sparked a chain of events that would melt even the coldest hearts. If you're hooked already, and I know you are, hit that like button right now to show your support for tales of real human triumph, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of kindness in a world gone cold. Anna's journey to the streets hadn't been a straight path of misfortune, it was a winding road paved with shattered dreams and unyielding hardships. Born in a small village on the outskirts of St. Petersburg, she grew up in a modest home where her father worked long hours in a factory, and her mother tended to their tiny garden, dreaming of a better life for their only daughter. Anna was bright, with a passion for literature and a voice that could sing folk songs that brought tears to the eyes of villagers during festivals. But when she was 16, tragedy struck like a Siberian blizzard. Her father died in a workplace accident, leaving the family in crippling debt. Her mother, overwhelmed by grief and poverty, turned to alcohol, and soon the home that once echoed with laughter became a prison of arguments and despair. Anna tried to hold it together, working odd jobs after school, cleaning houses, babysitting neighborhood children, but it wasn't enough. By 18, the bank foreclosed on their home, and her mother, in a haze of vodka-induced rage, blamed Anna for their woes, kicking her out with nothing but a backpack and a few rubles. Wandering to Moscow in search of opportunity, Anna arrived wide-eyed and hopeful. The city promised jobs, education, perhaps even a chance at university if she could scrape together the funds. She found temporary work as a waitress in a dingy cafe, where the owner leered at her with predatory eyes and paid her under the table. But the tips were meager, and when the cafe shut down due to health violations, Anna was back on the streets. She couch-surfed with acquaintances at first, but pride and fear kept her from begging for too long. Soon, she was sleeping in parks during the summer and seeking shelter in metro stations when the temperatures plummeted. Homelessness in Russia was a harsh reality for many young people like her, victims of economic shifts, family breakdowns, and a system that offered little safety net. Anna learned to navigate the dangers, avoiding aggressive drunks, scavenging for food in dumpsters behind markets, and clinging to her dignity like a lifeline. She carried a worn notebook where she scribbled poems about lost homes and flickering hopes, dreaming of one day becoming a writer or singer. But survival came first, and each day blurred into the next, a monotonous grind of hunger and isolation. On that icy December evening, as snowflakes danced under the street lamps, Anna was scavenging near the Arbat district, a place where tourists mingled with locals in cozy cafes. She spotted a flicker of orange through the window of a towering apartment block, a fire starting in the lower floors, perhaps from a faulty heater or an unattended stove. Panic spread quickly, residents poured out, coughing and screaming. But amid the chaos, Anna heard a mother's desperate wail, "My son. He's still inside." The woman, clad in a thin robe, pointed to the third-floor window where a small boy, no older than 5, pressed his face against the glass, tears streaming down his cheeks. Firefighters hadn't arrived yet, the traffic in Moscow was notorious, and the flames were licking upward, devouring curtains and furniture with ravenous hunger. Without hesitation, Anna dropped her scavenged bag of scraps and sprinted toward the building. "Wait," a bystander shouted, but she ignored them. Her heart pounded like a war drum. She had nothing, but she could give this child a chance. Scaling the fire escape, rusty and precarious, Anna felt the heat singe her skin even from outside. Smoke billowed out, choking her lungs, but she pressed on, wrapping her scarf around her mouth. Reaching the window, she shattered the glass with her elbow, ignoring the sharp pain as shards cut into her flesh. "Come here, little one," she called in Russian, her voice steady despite the fear. The boy, terrified and frozen, reached out his tiny hands. Anna pulled him through, cradling him against her chest as flames roared behind them. The descent was a nightmare, the ladder groaned under their weight, and embers rained down like hellfire. By the time they reached the ground, Anna's clothes were scorched, her arms burned, and her face smeared with soot. She handed the child to his sobbing mother just as the firefighters arrived, sirens blaring. The crowd erupted in applause, but Anna, overwhelmed and in pain, slipped away into the shadows before anyone could thank her. She didn't do it for recognition, she did it because, in that moment, she saw her younger self in the boy's eyes, vulnerable, alone, needing someone to care. Word of the rescue spread like wildfire, pun intended, through social media and local news. Videos captured on phones showed the mysterious young woman vanishing into the night, her heroic act immortalized in grainy footage. But who was she? The child's mother, Elena Kuznetsova, was married to Dmitry Kuznetsov, a powerful CEO and millionaire whose tech empire dominated Russia's Silicon scene. Dmitry, a 35-year-old visionary with a reputation for ruthless business deals but a soft spot for his family, was away on a trip when the fire broke out. Returning to find his son safe but his home in ruins, he was consumed by gratitude and determination. "I must find her," he declared to his wife, his voice thick with emotion. "She saved our boy's life. Whatever it takes." Dmitry mobilized his resources, private investigators, media appeals, even a reward posted on billboards across Moscow. "Homeless heroine sought by grateful family," the headlines screamed. But Anna, bandaging her wounds in a hidden alley with stolen gauze, had no idea the storm she had unleashed. Days turned into weeks, and Anna's life on the streets grew harder. Her burns infected, making every movement agony. She avoided hospitals, fearing questions about her status or deportation risks. Though she was Russian, homelessness often led to bureaucratic nightmares. Food was scarce, the winter deepened, and she shivered through nights in cardboard shelters. Flashbacks haunted her, the child's cries, the heat, her own mother's rejection. Why bother saving anyone when no one saved her? Doubt crept in, but so did a spark of pride. She had made a difference, even if it cost her more pain. Relatable in her struggles, Anna represented countless young women in Russia facing similar plights: economic inequality, family fractures, and societal indifference. Yet, her resilience shone through. She shared scraps with other homeless souls, sang lullabies to street children, and clung to her notebook, pouring her soul into verses about redemption. Meanwhile, Dmitry's search intensified. He wasn't just a millionaire, he was a man shaped by his own hardships. Orphaned young, he built his fortune from nothing, coding in dingy basements before striking gold with a cybersecurity app. But success came at a price: long hours, strained relationships, a heart armored against vulnerability. His son, little Alexei, was his world, a reminder of the family he never had growing up. Learning of Anna's bravery stirred something deep within him, a mix of admiration and guilt for his privileged life. He scoured shelters, interviewed witnesses, even hired drones to scan alleyways. Challenges mounted, false leads from opportunists seeking the reward, media scrutiny invading his privacy, and his own emotional turmoil as he relived the near loss of his child. Elena, supportive but anxious, urged him to let go, but Dmitry couldn't. "She's out there, suffering because of us," he insisted. One stormy evening, fate intervened. Anna, weakened by infection, collapsed near a park bench. A kind stranger called an ambulance, and she awoke in a hospital bed, IVs dripping life back into her veins. News of a young homeless woman matching the description reached Dmitry's ears. He rushed to the hospital, his sleek black Mercedes cutting through the snow. Entering her room, he saw her, fragile yet fierce, her blue eyes widening in surprise. You're the father," she whispered. Dmitri nodded, tears uncharacteristically welling in his eyes. "You saved my son. How can I ever repay you?" What followed was a heartfelt conversation that peeled back layers of pain. Anna shared her story, her voice breaking as she spoke of her mother's abandonment and her dreams deferred. Dmitri listened, relating his own orphan past, and offered not just money, but a hand up, a job in his company, housing, even therapy to heal her wounds, physical and emotional. But resolutions weren't instant, challenges persisted. Anna hesitated, pride warring with desperation. "I don't want pity," she said. Dmitri respected that, starting small, a warm meal, clean clothes, a safe place to stay. Over time, trust built. She began as an assistant in his office, her quick mind impressing colleagues. Flashbacks and nightmares plagued her, but with counseling, funded by Dmitri, she confronted her past, even attempting to reconcile with her mother, who, sobered by the news of Anna's heroism, sought forgiveness. It wasn't perfect, relapses happened, arguments flared, but growth emerged. Dmitri faced his own resolutions, balancing work with family, using his wealth for philanthropy, establishing shelters for homeless youth in Anna's honor. As months passed, Anna transformed. She enrolled in night classes, her poems published in a local journal. Romance blossomed subtly, not with Dmitri, who remained a mentor figure, but with a kind colleague who saw her strength. The story's pace, steady like a heartbeat, built emotional depth through these arcs, from despair to hope, isolation to connection. Key challenges: poverty, trauma, skepticism, resolved through perseverance and human kindness, showing that one act can ripple into profound change. In the end, Anna stood on a stage at a charity gala, her voice strong as she shared her journey. "I was invisible, but one moment of courage made me seen. Remember, heroes aren't born in mansions, they're forged in the fires of life. Be kind, for you never know whose life you'll save, or who will save yours." The audience erupted, inspired by her resilience. Dmitri, beaming like a proud father, watched as she received a standing ovation. And there you have it, folks, an epic tale of bravery, redemption, and the unbreakable human spirit. If this story touched your heart, smash that like button to spread the inspiration, and subscribe now so you never miss another emotional roller coaster like this. Turn on notifications for more stories that prove kindness changes everything. What's your takeaway? Share in the comments below, we'd love to hear.